Welcome back to the second race here at Oulton Park from round 2 of the Disklok Civic Cup. The first effort to get this one underway resulted in this collision. The 60 car of Mike Ballantyne coming across the front of Ross Darlington. Darlington nowhere to go. That collision would bring out a red flag, fortunately for a few of the drivers who went a little agricultural out of turn 1. Fortunately for Mike Ballantyne, the oldest driver in the field by the way, he was okay, but the car decidedly second-hand. Fortunately, he owns a garage, it'll buff out. Here's Jake Sanson with the grid positions and race commentary.
So there's the grid. Lewis and Rose on the front row, courtesy of their reverse grid front row starts. 9th and 10th in race 1 means 1st and 2nd in the second race. There are 3 drivers, though, that are not going to get away from the main grid. Andy Hart, also Ross Darlington and Chris Mullen are all going to have to start the race from the pit lane, courtesy of being chucked away to the sidelines in the first start. Lee Deegan, of course, starts P4 after 7th in race 1. Let's see what he can do. Avanti, and away we go down towards Old Hall for the second time. Not a great start for Max Lewis. Rose is going to have Deegan to his left side almost immediately, but he's going to defend valiantly into Old Hall. Lewis is still going to be there in 3rd place. Alistair Camp trying to come around the outside. He's on the grass. Get it back together, Alistair. On board with David Bookie. That is Reason trying to get on the inside of Hobson. Down into Cascades. Oh, he's nudged him. Hobson going sideways. Oh, the 2 battlers in race 1 come together and just about avoid it. Taylor's gone off on the grass. Bailey's got past us as we charge down towards Island Bend. But Reason and Hobson very nearly took each other off of the circuit. Lewis has gone sideways. He's chucked it off into the grass. And it looks as though Taylor nearly joining him. Oh, Max Lewis from pole position down to the back of the field. Careful as you rejoin. He was sensible there. He let everybody go through and then filtered in. But that's painful for Max Lewis. What a shame. From pole position, he makes the mistake there down in 3rd. And we're watching as Winfield has now got pressure from Sharp, who's trying to fight his way through. Let's watch again on the replay. This is on board with Lewis. See, he's got 2 wheels on the white line, nudges the curb, that unsettles the car, and it spits him off into the grass. Such an easy mistake to make, but it's not going to make him feel any better about it. But look, he reacts very quickly. He realises there are cars coming. He gets off the power, blends back in, and he's going to have to do all that hard work again. There he is. He's rejoined, actually, in front of Chris Mullen. We're on board with Bookie, chasing after Morgan Bailey. Morgan Bailey is still trying to make progress as they go through. He's in behind Reason and Hobson. So Reason has gone through Druid's A-OK. Hobson right underneath him, then Bailey. But for the battle for the lead, it is still the 81 of Lewis Rose, and he's actually having to hang on to the inside line to avert Lee Deegan coming right round the outside. This is a brave lunge out of Lodge. Up the start they come once again. So they go over dearly. Rose is not giving up though. Deegan is still there to his left. Rose to the inside line. This could not get much closer through Old Hall. Here they come. Oh, they kiss mirrors as they go down the stretch. And they are so close together. They're banging doors into Cascades through the left-hander. And Rose is still with him. They're absolutely locking together. This is brilliant top racing. Oh dear, Rose just gets away with it. But that has dropped him back into 2nd place. And now up the inside comes Alistair Camp. He sweeps through up towards Highland. Oh, that is as close as you can get without a major monumental accident. And on the inside, the 81 of Lewis Rose is going to unsettle this to hold on in front of Winfield, trying to come round the outside. He's still there, though, to the left. As up the inside, Camp is going for the lead as Winfield grabs 3rd from Rose. And they nearly come together on the exit of Britain's up towards Hilltop. Alistair Camp now in 2nd, consents his first win of the year if he closes in and catches Deegan. We're on board with Rose. Now, calm down. You've got, I was going to say you've got a bit of a breather. You haven't, because Ballantyne and Sharp have just sideswiped. They've double timed in there, and Sharp makes the lunge on Ballantyne into the chicane at Hislops as they go up through Knickerbrook. Still lots of nice moves coming through. Handley makes the move there on Harris. And that's Beach in front of the 83 of Carter, Rose, McHugh, Hart, Lewis, Mullen and Darlington. Terrific stuff. We're on board again with Rose. That is Hobson in front of us. So we've had a pretty scary lap, actually, Lewis Rose. We were in 2nd. We're now down in about 7th place, I think, maybe even 8th. As they come up towards the bridge. Out of of Druids they have gone down the stretch up to Lodge. Looks like we're going to have a nice little tasty battle into Lodge corner. Side by side up in front. That is Sharp on the inside. Reason trying to come around the outside. Oh, and we've been passed by Morgan Bailey. So Bailey's come through on the inside. And as we go back down the main straight, up towards Old Hall, there's going to be a move on the inside, is there? No, they settle themselves out as Sharp manages to settle in front of Hobson. Meanwhile, a few places back, Max Lewis is on the charge again. Now, who's he lining up this time? This is Hart in front of him, who is door-to-door with Rose. In through the first turn. Watch out. These two are very close. He's going to go left. He has to ride the curb, but that was well handled. Max Lewis goes left and he's going to find the space. Now Deegan, Camp and Winfield battling for first position. On the brakes, turn in, keep the car nicely planted. Winfield dives on the inside of Camp. There's enough space for two of them, but Winfield drifts towards Camp. Camp is going to hold it though round the outside. A little bit of a nudge is nothing to him. Up to the inside, in through the chicane, neither's prepared to lift, but Camp has to get there first. Two wheels in the air, but he plants it nicely on the exit. The only problem for Camp and Winfield is that has now allowed Deegan a little bit of breathing space as they go over Hilltop, down towards the braking zone for Hislops. Ballantyne's getting into the battle as well now. Two races, two top fives is where he's looking to be. And there is race one winner, Dan Reason in fifth, in front of Sharp and Hobson. And it is Bailey, Rose, Buki, Wright, Taylor and Nicolau. On board with Phil Wright, with Lewis Rose looking at Phil Wright. The car repaired after his race one contretemps. As they come up out of Knickerbrook, up Clay Hill, they're going to go past the water tower and up towards the braking zone for Druids once again. Quick flick to the left, brake, pop the throttle now. That gives you plenty of grip. Max Lewis now trying to come up the inside of Hart. There's no room there as Andy Hart makes sure. Well, that was very, very tight indeed. But Andy Hart is going to hold on to the position, and he's got a battle of his own because he's trying to get on terms with Aaron Rose as they come across the line. 9 minutes to go, and it's Deegan in front of Camp, Winfield, Jason Ballantyne, and here's Dan Reason looking for a really strong run. Now he holds a little bit of a wider line. If he can get back and blend off the power, he's got a run on Ballantyne. Meanwhile, Sharp and Hobson are at each other's throats, and here comes Reason trying to tuck in on the inside. He had to bail out of that one. That was very tight indeed. Ballantyne covering the inside nicely as Sharp is still absolutely resolute in his defence of Hobson. But Dan Hobson is trying his best to get on terms with Ben Sharp. They go down through Lakeside and up towards Island Bend, through the left. We're on board with Buki. That is Lewis Rose in front of us. All sorts of problems befalling the front row men, but Buki on the edge there. That was literally flirting with disaster. As up the inside, that's going to be a move for sixth position. Sharp and Hobson battling away. Oh, I really wanted to follow a little bit closer back as Hobson, I think, managed to get on the inside. Yes, he does. Hobson is through past Sharp, but Dan Reason's now got a run on Jason Ballantyne. Down the straight, up over Hilltop. Deegan's not done, is he? Camp and Winfield still reeling him in. This win is not won yet by a long stretch. We're about the halfway distance in the race now. Reason in behind Ballantyne. Ballantyne covers a tighter line to the inside of Hislops through the left. As they get back on the power up to Knickerbrook, he's okay for the moment. Buki still in behind Rose. Taylor and Nicolau behind us, then Handley and Harris. And here's the 71 of Max Lewis getting himself back into contention, having got past Andy Hart. And then it's the 34 of Beach. So Max Lewis, it'll be a little bit frustrating for him, having been on pole position. There's Aaron Rose battling away in the pack with the likes of McHugh and Darlington. Will Beach, the car is for sale, so there's the confirmation. I wasn't sure. We've done some research in between races. It is actually for sale if you want to buy it off him. Who wouldn't? This is a fantastic series. Over across the line once again, and there's a black and white flag being handed out. Now that is interesting. Can't quite see who that one is for, unfortunately, as Reason's going to make caution to the winds, throws it up the inside at Old Hall. Lovely job on Ballantyne. Ballantyne's going to try and get him on the switchback, and he actually gets him straight back. So Reason, all that hard work, and Ballantyne was ready for him. He just gave in the corner, blended back on the power, and just stormed straight back on the inside. So there's Bruce Winfield, charging his way in third position. This is a good run in the second race from Winfield. Didn't really have things go his way to get into the front end of the field, but a podium finish is going to be well deserved. On board again with Buki as he chases after Rose, and there's Reason on the inside of Ballantyne. This time he's got to drift across to the apex to cover the line. Lovely. That's beautifully done from Dan Reason. but he's running out of time to get back into the top 3. But a first and a 4th position is very admirable indeed, considering he started this race back in 10th. So out of Britons and up Hilltop. This is a lovely job from Dan Reason. So Deegan, Camp, Winfield, Ballantyne, Reason and Hobson. Although, of course, now Ballantyne has slotted into that 5th position spot. Deegan still pushing hard, 2 wheels in the air. There's Reason, he's charging hard actually, sliding across the ribbon of the chicane. And the field's still very tight in together. There is the 195 of Taylor in front of Nicolau. Luke Handley's got some side skirt damage by the look of it. So it looks as though he... Oh yes, there it is. Flapping around. Mate, your shoelaces are undone. That's the car equivalent, isn't it? So Buki through the left, kisses the curb a little bit, down in the braking zone. This is Chris Mullen versus Beach. Beach is hanging on in there. This is a bit of a tough comeback from Chris Mullen, having started the race from the pit lane. He's definitely making some waves. He's already up into, what's that, 19th place. So a good comeback from Chris Mullen. 5 minutes to go, just about, as they come across the line. When time runs out, we know we're on the last lap. And Deegan has actually extended the gap a little bit to Alistair Camp. It's 1.2, and he needs to. He is pushing like there's no tomorrow at the moment, because Camp and Winfield are still very close. And in the latter stages of the race, if they've looked after their tyres slightly better, they're actually going to be stronger in the closing stages. Reason in 4th in front of Ballantyne. There is Hobson. Despite his duel with Sharp, he's not out of contention. He's not lost a lot of time at all, and he's right on the back of Ballantyne. There is Max Lewis now hassling the 140 of Damien Harris. So Damien Harris taking a lot of curb as he comes through. Oops! Well, 2 rookies pushing very hard. You can tell they're rookies based on the rear-facing plate on the back bumper. So that must have been a very scary situation for Max Lewis as a rookie being on the front of the grid earlier. But here is Lee Deegan charging through to the braking zone. Camp and Winfield are still giving it everything they've got. But Bruce Winfield can't quite get close enough to Alistair Camp. And they're not able to run together in the tow in order to make up time to our race leader. So Lee Deegan, championship leader, salvaged a 7th place finish from race 1, but I tell you what, the victory is going to get him right back into contention, because there's only 1 point separating the top 3 drivers in the championship at this stage, and Lee Deegan is at the front of that, so he's going to gain a few more points on his opponents with this one. If Dan Reason comes home in his position, he's going to get a few points. We're going to see a replay now. This is David Buki chasing after Lewis Rose in through Ireland. Now this is going to be hairy, I can tell already. Oh, Rose goes wide. Oh dear, he's gone on the grass. It's very easy to do that. Buki is looking to his right the whole time as well, because he's not sure if he's going to get a car into the side door of him there, and that could have been very scary from his point of view. So Buki absolutely doing the right thing. 1 eye on the road in front and 1 eye to his right, because he could well have been sideswiped by Rose. It's happened before at that corner in many a different championship in the past. So Deegan, Camp, Winfield, Reason, Jason Ballantyne, and then it's Dan Hobson chasing after him. In through Old Hall, dropping down out of the avenue, down Denton's, and into Cascades. Is he going to make a late lunge? Well, not if Jason Ballantyne's got anything to say about it. Chops across the line. There is the number 24 of Ben Sharp. And he's got hassle from the 63 of Phil Wright. He's going to be a little bit disappointed about the way his weekend has gone. What might have been for him. He's going to salvage a decent result from this one at least. As there goes Chris Mullen, a late move on Beach. He had to think about that one, because Beach gave him space, but he wasn't really sure if he was going to commit to it, as Aaron Rose goes a little bit wide at Old Hall, and he's trying to hang on to his position in front of the 9 of Paul McHugh. Oh, sideways from Mullen! Well, has he been able to save that? Goodness me, that was a big slide, but unfortunately, we didn't really get to see the end of that one. So let's see what happens as he'll come through next time. We're too busy keeping an eye on this, because as I mentioned before, that gap was 1.5, but now it definitely is less than that if you watch the 3 leaders go by next time. And next time is the last time, because we are about to go into the final lap of the race in what has been a brilliant weekend. This second race is coming to a close. Damien Harris now has some side skirt damage, so clearly he's been playing fisticuffs with somebody out there on the circuit. And now they are going to come through. The midfielders still locked together in a big battle, but Deegan is going to try and shake off Alistair Camp. I think he made a mistake on that last lap, because he's lost about 9/10 of a second, and Camp is suddenly on him. The gap was 1.5, now it's 0.6 as we are on the last lap. So here is a big test for Lee Deegan. Can he cope with the pressure of Alistair Camp swarming all over the back of him? And if there is a bit of an issue between these two, Bruce Winfield's not far away. There's Taylor and Nicolau once again battling away. Oh, Taylor just about hangs on there. That was close for Paul. But Nicolau is going to try and take it way past him on the way through Cascades onto Lakeside once again. Battles all the way down the field. This is what I love about this championship. Oh, Sharp squeezing in the inside of Hobson. That wasn't going to work, but Phil Wright has now got an opportunity. Sharp shuts the door. Wright goes to the other side. Goodness me. They're going to try and find a way to sort that one out, but Deegan is under so much pressure here from Camp, who suddenly realises that Deegan's made that mistake. He is vulnerable. I'm going to go for it. Over Hilltop, down into the braking zone for Hislops. Lee, do not mess this up, because Alistair Camp, he's going to be on you like a ton of bricks. Here he comes, he's actually got a neater line through the chicane, and even Reason is struggling to hold the car together there. Hobson sliding sideways. See, this is what happens in the closing stages. The temperature of the circuit's hot. Those tyres are really starting to lose grip. The checkered flag is being prepared, and we're getting ourselves ready for a good run to the finish. Nicolau's still all over the back of Taylor. Next should be Hatley, despite his side skirt damage. As they come into Hislops this time, there he is. Oh, goodness me, Rose has caught him right up. What a shame for Rose. And there's Max Lewis, so the front row men are in 14th and 15th positions. Now, I think that means they'll actually salvage some points from this race. They will get in the points, but it's this man who's just going to hang on as they come out of the final turn, up over Deerleap. Deegan is going to take a brilliant victory, and that extends his lead in the championship. He's absolutely elated. Alistair Camp, his best finish of the season, in second place from Bruce Winfield, and race one winner, Dan Reason. Then it's Ballantyne and Hobson. Sharp is going to come through for 7th place. Wright, Bailey and Buki in the top 10. It's going to be a photo finish between these two. Taylor and Nicolau. Taylor gets there by 0.121. Well, that just shows you never ever give up in the Civic Cup. He so nearly grabbed 11th place. That's the spirit of this championship. It is tin tops as close and roughhouse as you like, with great racing right to the death. Deegan wins from Camp and Winfield. Reason, Ballantyne and Hobson in the top 6 from Sharp, Wright, Bailey and Buki. Then Taylor just in front of Nicolau, with Handley 13th in front of Rose and Lewis, the front row men, Harris, Hart and Mullen, and then it's Beach in front of Aaron Rose, from McHugh, Darlington, and the 83 of Craig Carter. What a brilliant weekend.
Bruce, so you started a bit higher up on the grid than you finished, but it was still a well-fought race.
Yeah, it's all right. Me and Ali had a little coming together through the first chicane, but yeah, it's a good race, nice close racing, no contact between us lot anyway, so yeah, always makes for good racing.
Absolutely. Talk us through it from your point of view. Was it as you expected it to go?
First corner's always a bit exciting. I think where I started was in the middle of the grid, so I couldn't go around the outside, I couldn't really get up the inside, so I was a little bit stuck, but yeah, finished in 3rd. Yeah, happy with that. So.
Alistair, 6th on the grid to 2nd place finishing. You must be pretty happy.
Yeah, really happy. First season in the Civic Cup going well so far. So yeah, really loving it at the minute.
Talk us through the race from your point of view.
Well, the first, obviously we had the restart, which helped me out massively because I got a real bad start in the first session. And on the restart, there was just gaps appearing, so I just decided to stick the front end of the car there, and it obviously paid off. I think I've not been aggressive enough in the past, and that's where I've lost out on the start line. And obviously being there, strong position from second, especially with Lee in front, you can just follow him and find his lines and start trying to reel him in.
Lee, after the first result, you needed to pull something out of the bag, didn't you, really?
That's it. I knew the reverse grid might actually help me, and starting 4th, I had a bit of an idea where I was going to make my move on the first few corners, so I stuck to that. On the first start, got a really good start, straight into the lead, but I had to fight Lewis a little bit for a lap or two to get past him. But after that, I just tried to sort of eke out a gap and maintain a gap. And try not to make too many mistakes, because I'm struggling with the car, the rear brakes this weekend. We've got way too much rear brake, and I just can't wind any more off. We're at max, so we've got to obviously look at the car, trying to get a bit more consistency out of it over a race. So because a couple of more laps, and Ali probably would have had me. So I was just trying to keep calm and just maintain that tiny gap and bring it home.
So it's race management, but it's also having to manage the way you drive the car, particularly if you have a problem with rear brakes or any part of the car, really.
Exactly. A couple of times the brakes were overheating, and I had a really stiff pedal, and then the pedal went really long, so I knew the brakes were getting really hot. So then I was picking my braking points early to try and manage it, and then just make sure that I could stick that P1.
It's amazing what you can do though when you have that top step looming.
Yeah, the adrenaline takes over. Yeah, definitely. Back to Cambridge this afternoon, and we'll be back in the garage tomorrow prepping, make this car better for the next round. We'll be back in Wales.
Not a bad points haul though for the end of this weekend. It wasn't looking that great, like I say, at the end of the first one, so it's nice to finish on a high.
That's it. Yeah, I never give up. Even if I was at the back, I'm out there to win. So. Yeah.
Fantastic win for Lee Deegan, and that puts him 8 points clear of Dan Reason in the championship. 73 points for Dan Hobson, 3 ahead of Alistair Camp, but Bruce Winfield is still in contention. Only 22 points in the top 5. It's going to be closer than ever in 2019. Our next visit in the championship takes us to the beautiful Welsh circuit of Toy in Anglesey. I can't wait for us to say Croeso i Gymru on the Welsh coast. We're going to have a great race weekend with lots of drama and action from the Disklok Civic Cup. I'm Jake Sanson. See you next time.